So again, thank you for coming today for the CJ Careers Day. And again, I'm Miyuki Arimoto. My specialized area is juvenile justice and corrections. So now we have a student panel session. So in the morning, you heard a lot of stories from the professionals. But I'm sure you want to learn something about the current student, right? So I'm going to ask them questions you may want to know from them. And also, I'm going to give you some opportunities to ask them about your questions. So, yeah, you're welcome to jump in anytime. So, first of all, everyone, thank you very much for coming. And could you please introduce yourselves, including your class standing, concentration, and minor? Let's go with Kira.
I don't know if this is, okay. My name is Kira Shelton. I'm a junior. I'm majoring in cybercrime with a minor in, I'm majoring in criminal justice, with a minor in cybercrime investigation and enforcement and a concentration in forensic anthropology.
My name is Yasmin. I am a senior, and my major is cybercrime investigation enforcement.
My name is Kyla. I graduated with my bachelor's in criminal justice with a concentration in corrections and a minor in American Sign Language, and I'm now working through my graduate degree to get my master's in criminal justice with a juvenile justice certificate.
My name is Brandon Bean. I'm a senior here at Western Oregon University, and I'm majoring in criminal justice, minoring in forensic psych, and specializing in juvenile justice.
My name is Alex Bernasconi. I'm a junior. I am doing a criminal justice degree with an emphasis in homeland security and community preparedness with a political science minor.
My name is Wesley Mullins. I am a junior here at Western Oregon University. I am majoring in criminal justice, and I am also minoring in cybercrime investigations and enforcement.
My name is Trent Bateman. I'm a criminal justice major here. I'm a sophomore. My minor is in psychology, and my concentration is in law enforcement.
Thank you so much. Okay, the next question. Why did you choose Western and criminal justice or CIE as your major minor?
I chose WU because of the diversity. And then I chose it also because I've heard that WU has one of the best criminal justice programs.
And how about your major?
My major?
Yeah.
So I took a cyber security boot camp with U of O, and when I graduated, I tried to apply to places, and you need a bachelor's, that's what they require. And WU actually had this program come up, I think, like a year prior, so it was just a great opportunity.
How about you, Trenton?
Coming out of high school, I knew I wanted to go to college, and I knew I wanted to get into law enforcement. And so with the gap between an age from when you graduate high school to when you can apply for most law enforcement jobs, I decided I might as well go get a degree. And so I chose criminal justice, and I chose Western because I grew up only like an hour away. It was close. And Western, for the most part, is a pretty small campus, so you've got like way smaller class sizes. You're going to know all the names of your classmates, and your professors will even know your name probably by the end of the term, which is pretty unheard of when it comes to college. So that's why I chose Western and criminal justice.
Thank you so much. Yeah, I remember all the students' names. That's great, So is there anyone who would like to add why you chose WU?
I also went to a CJ Fair, this one specifically back in 2018, and I met all the wonderful staff here. met some of the Western alumni who are currently in law enforcement. I've also always been passionate about law enforcement. So, and then there's also, I live only like 15 minutes away, so I didn't actually have to live on campus my first year, which saved me a lot of money. So I chose WU. So, yeah.
Okay, great. All right. The next question. If you are involved in any clubs or extracurricular activities, please tell us what you do. How about you, Kira?
I'm the president of the Criminal Justice Club here on campus. Also, Alex is our vice president. So the Criminal Justice Club is for anyone who, anyone who goes to WU, you can be like a education major. One of our board members is actually an education major. It can be any major. You don't have to be criminal justice. If you are interested in like true crime or you watch TV shows that are always really interesting, come to our club meetings. We're there weekly. And we just kind of talk about current world topics. We also go on tours to like correctional facilities. We also have guest speakers come, like professors come in and all this. We kind of have a wide variety of things that we can do. And I'm also part of the Incidental Fee Committee, or IFC, here on campus. And we kind of help do part of tuition. We pay, we decide what students pay for access to a lot of things on campus.
Thank you. Brandon?
I'm involved in a little bit of rock climbing here and there. We do swing dance clubs as well, little activities we do even outside of clubs. Part of the campus ministries here, we have WU Fellowship Ministry and a crew ministry. And a lot of those, even standalone, can sometimes intermingle with the criminal justice system. WU Fellowship recently did a trip to Santiam Correctional Facility and did a Christmas program with them. It was very educational, and we got to have a great time. So, look forward to that.
Kyla?
Yeah, in terms of activities and such on campus, I'm also part of the Western Oregon University Fellowship Club. And then, just the fun random things that come up on campus, whether it be the swing dance club or the different events and such. There's always something to be involved in, which is kind of fun.
Great. So I'm sure you'd like to ask this question. So one of the students, Trenton, is sophomore, so very much closer to your age. So I want to ask Trenton, what is it like being a college student? How are college classes different from high school classes?
How they're different, I don't know about any of you, but when I was in high school, I had teachers who like to emphasize how much harder college is going to be and how it's going to be 10 times worse and you can't get away with these things or these things. And that's somewhat true, but I found that the content of college, what you learn, is a lot more complex than what you learn in high school. But the freedom aspect of college, you are moving away from your parents, you're on your own, you got to figure out what you're going to eat. And being able to manage your time and say, oh yeah, mom's not here to remind me I need to go to class now or go to school, that's a big step. And I think that is the major difference, is all the freedom and how you learn to work with that.
Thanks. Along the same line, well, it's way down the road for you, but I'm going to ask Kyla about the similar question. What is it like being a graduate student? How are classes different from undergraduate classes?
Yeah, I think I'd actually honestly build off what Trenton just said when it comes to the freedom that you get, because the master's program here is fully online, fully asynchronous. You have a lot of flexibility to hold a job and to do other things and manage your classwork kind of on your schedule, which is really, really nice. And it's also, your coursework, it takes things one step further, it takes things one step deeper. You build off that foundation that you created as an undergrad, and you get to take those topics and dig really deep into them with more of a practical application bent. Not just, okay, how do these things hypothetically work in the academic sense, but how do we take these things and look at them through a lens of, okay, how do we apply this to the real world? What would, recommendations and implications and such look like actually in the real world, which is kind of cool. And you also have a lot more freedom to kind of pick and choose what you study. A lot of the projects are more free, so you can pick kind of the specific focus or topics that you want to really dive into, what you feel like would best meet your interests, but also help you pursue your career a little bit better.
Thanks. Now it's fun question. What are your favorite CJ classes so far? No pressure, but.
So my favorite classes so far have been with any that involve Professor Chamberlain or Professor Jones, just because one of them, Professor Chamberlain was an FBI agent for, I think, like 30 years, and then Professor Jones, he's an active or like current FBI agent, so the knowledge they bring in, the course material that they teach us, it's all relevant to right now.
Brandon?
Favorite course? If I had to suck up, I'd say probably yours. And in all seriousness, probably the corrections course that I took with Vanderpyle sitting in the front here. We got to dive in depth into the history of prisons, how they're improving, how they aren't what we may think they are based on media representation. We even get to speak to some of the correctional officers that come in and just kind of speak to us as people. And then at times we may be able to speak to influential speakers like Sterling Sunio. You may not know who he is now, but he is a very charismatic man that can give you very good insight on what it's like to be in a prison. So yeah, probably corrections.
How about you, Kira?
I would say I really liked, well, besides all like criminal justice classes, they're all very interesting. You learn a lot, but I think criminology was really, it was kind of nice to step away from learning about like the laws and stuff, which is what a lot of classes are, of course. But that was fun. And of course, your juvenile class, Miyuki, and all of the forensic anthropology classes, especially with Dr. Weitzel right here. I really enjoyed those. But, yeah.
Wesley?
I would say also corrections was pretty fun. And then also American courts. I would say anything that you can have those, anything in person, because you have online or an in-person option. I'd say anything in person that you can have those critical conversations with, especially when, at least for me, I'm a third year now and I'm really passionate about law enforcement. I'm really passionate about criminal justice. So being able to be in person and have those conversations and kind of like debate with people around you. And it's special because you truly have like those different perspectives and views of other people in the class, and be able to be exposed to those things, I think are really important to be just for to be a diverse person. So yeah.
Okay, great. So looking forward, what are your future career plans? So let's go with Trenton first.
I think I mentioned going into law enforcement. So after I graduate, I want to get on as a regular patrol officer with a agency, and then long term, after a couple of years, hopefully plan to move up into a detective role and get to work investigations, stuff like that.
So how about you, Kyla?
For me, I'm looking to go into juvenile corrections, specifically county level detention. Looking to be a detention officer working with pre-adjudicated youth doing supervision and care.
Okay, great. So some students are already taking practicum internship courses, and some are very closer to senior year, so they are thinking about practicum opportunity. So I'm going to ask you about practicum. So what are your plans for your practicum, or what did you do in your practicum? So let's go with Jasmine.
So for my practicum, I'm actually working on completing my hours right now, and I work for the state as a field investigator, and I was able to get that agency to communicate with cybersecurity services, which is with DAS, which is with the state. So I'm doing my hours there, and I've been to different conferences. I've talked to an FBI agent who's like the lead here in Portland. I've talked to Homeland Security. I think it was like 2 different individuals, lawyers. There's so much that I've done in a short amount of time that it's really important to choose an agency that's going to help you get as much experience to get you prepared to get a job in that field.
Thanks. Wesley?
Yeah, I'm actually going to do my practicum this summer. So I just got hired on with Benton County's Marine Patrol Division. So I'm going to be doing that this summer. And then I'm also interning for HSI in Portland. So to kind of utilize my CIE minor. So, yeah.
Cool. Alex?
So I just finished up my Homeland Security Investigations internship last summer, but I also have in the works right now. I might work with them again for this summer. And fall, I also have an application with the Department of State right now, and so hopefully with those combined, I can then get my foot in the door and be able to work with all of them.
Thank you. So now, I'm going to ask the floor at this moment. Is there any questions?
What's the hardest course that you guys say you could take out of there? Like that whole thing?
That can depend on really what classes you take. General education is pretty easy once you get through it. It's the 400 level courses you have to worry about a little bit once you get up there. Well, they can be a little challenging depending on, again, professors and instructors who you have. And again, it just depends on who you are as a person, how you deal with the stress of the classes themselves.
I would also say, like, writing classes, if you struggle with writing, like you have to take like research writing, which I'm taking right now. My professor right now, she's amazing, so I have no issues with it, but that can be hard. I know next term I'm taking quantitative methods. I'm not looking forward to that. So, yeah, that won't be fun. I know that.
I would also say, yeah, research methods is one of the most difficult courses I've taken so far. And then I'm also looking forward to the quantitative methods course I have to take next term. Those are definitely the hardest courses. Other than that, they've all been pretty easy just because I'm just like super passionate about what I'm learning. So everything's come pretty easy so far except for that course.
So what you have learned about criminal justice so far in each of your fields, what is the most disappointing criminal justice theme show? And also, which one is the best?
Any shows coming into this field, as you're learning more and more and more, it just, you can't watch them without yelling at the screen. You can't do that, or just, that's not realistic, and understanding that for time they have to cut things, but occasionally they do some things well.
I would say Bones. It's great, just don't look too closely at anything they show you.
Yeah, for me it was Law and Order, SVU. It was also a huge show I grew up watching. Well, I'm a third year now, so I've been exposed to a lot of criminal justice oriented stuff. So yeah, now it's kind of ruined it for me because I see a lot of the stuff that they do. I'm like, yeah, that's not how it works. And I've taken American courts class where I'm like, I see the stuff, I'm like, yeah, that's not how a court process works at all. So yeah, you'll learn those things. So it might kind of ruin the shows for you, but still trying to enjoy them because yeah, they're all really good shows. So.
What's your favorite part of going to Western Oregon University?
I would say that Western Oregon University is not a party school. To disappoint you, sorry. You come here because you want to learn. If you want to learn, if you want to grow better, you will come here, and that is the best part of Western Oregon University. So if you're academically minded, you will have a great time. You will enjoy yourself, and yeah, if you want to party, go to OSU.
And adding on to that, a lot of, like, it's unlike OSU where it's a huge campus, you have to walk a mile to your other class. Here it's a lot smaller class sizes, a lot smaller campus, so you can get to one side of the campus to the other within 10, 15 minutes. So it's very reliable that way.
I think also going off what Alex just said, there's a lot of connections with, because we're small, so you kind of get to know a lot of people, especially professors. Like once you're involved with one in like your area, then you're going to be involved with like all of them, and I think that's really nice because they can help you with like a lot of things. If like you don't know what to do for next class, they're like, oh, I'll help. Or it's just really nice having all those connections, and you meet a lot more people for your like later once you graduate your jobs. You can get a lot more in, like, get your foot in the door basically from all these people you know.
Yeah, and I would say that Western does a great job of promoting you and getting you the opportunities you want to have for success. Like I was able to get an internship spot with Benton County because of things that were sent out and the emails that may seem like they're getting, like every day you're getting emails about a new spot, but those truly are being sent out for you and are great opportunities.
What type of coursework could be expected for your major or your minor? Like, what type of coursework could you expect to do in that class? Like, what do you mostly work on, I suppose?
Again, that depends on the class of what you choose. Some classes are more writing oriented, some are more just general education credits that you just take. Others are more geared toward your major. And as my time here, I've noticed with each class you take within your major, you see connections within each one. You see classes where, oh, I did that last class, and seeing how it all connects together is very intriguing.
Also, I've noticed for criminal justice specifically that a lot of the courses are kind of run the same way. So, like, one professor does it this way, and the next professor you take is going to be very similar to that. They kind of all, so it's kind of nice going into that class. You kind of have an idea of what to expect.
Thank you so much. I'm going to give you another opportunity to ask questions, but let me go back to my agenda. So next question is, what was the biggest challenge at college? How did you overcome them? So Kira?
I would say trying to, like, enjoy my college life and my, well, education, I guess, like friends and my social life, and differentiating my, like, education. Like, I want to go I have to go do all my homework, make sure I get things undone, email people back and all that, but I also want to go hang out with friends and kind of, experience that college life or whatnot. I think trying to figure out what to do for that is kind of make your own time. High school's a lot different, right? They always tell us what to do and all that, but now you are your own deciding factor, so it's hard to get in, it's hard to figure out what works best for you because it's only you trying to figure out what you want, but...
Alex?
It's certainly similar to what Kira said. It's just the transition from high school to here. The first year can be a little hard because you don't know anyone. You might be farther away from family, or you just getting into that groove. Once you get there, it becomes really essential.
Okay, cool. So, what advice do you have for the students who want to succeed in college in general, or particularly CJ major? Brandon?
This might upset some of the staff by me saying this, but don't come to college because you feel like you're supposed to. Come here because you want to. If you want to come to college, you will succeed far more than somebody else telling you to come here. You will dedicate a lot more of your time, because this is a huge time investment, 4 years. If you complete it, if you choose to complete it. $40,000, $50,000 in tuition, something like that. That's a huge chunk of money. I mean, it's cheaper than the other schools in the area, but still. Do it because you want to, not because you're supposed to.
Thank you. It's a good advice. Wesley?
Yeah, to piggyback off what you said, I'd say you definitely have to go into it being passionate. Choose a major that you really like. Of course, you can go throughout the first year. Second year is kind of pushing it before even if you want to change your major. But I'd definitely say that to find something that you're passionate about, because kind of like what we said earlier, time management. If you don't have good time management going into college, you'll definitely develop good time management, because that's really important. But again, if you're really passionate about what you're learning and you like to go to class and you like to get your work done, then college will come really easy for you. For me personally, I didn't really do that great at all in high school. I didn't get good grades at all. Kind of turned around, and I do a lot better in college with a structure and just me liking and choosing the classes I want to learn. I'd say that's the biggest difference between high school and college for me. So yeah.
Alex?
So certainly try your best. Talk with professors. They're always there to help you. And going to the library helps as well. Just take an hour, maybe half an hour to just work in the library where it's quiet. And then go to our gym as well. You pay for it with your tuition. So basically a free gym membership for the whole year you're taking classes. And just have fun and just enjoy college, because it's going to be the best time of your life.
Anyone you would like to add some success tips for high school students?
Having a support, a group of support, because even your friends and stuff, because if your friends are slacking, you're most likely going to slack too. So that's the only thing. I had my wife who pushed me to do my work, because going to work 40 hours and then coming home, you just don't want to do anything. But having that support, that push, comes a long way.
Thank you.
Sorry, I got one more real quick. So another big piece of advice is don't be afraid to try something outside of your comfort zone. Do something new, try a class that you may not think you'd like, but turns out you actually do. Corrections was probably one of that for me. I didn't think I'd like that course, but it was really good. Try new activities. We have a wide variety of things to do here. We have a pool, we have a full gym, we have a track, we have basketball courts all around. We got all sorts of stuff. Get out there, try new things. That is why you are here, to learn and try new things.
The first girl here, you said forensics was your favorite class.
The forensic
What-
anthropology classes.
Can you explain to the students what you did in that class?
There's an intro and advanced forensic anthropology class, and you basically like a summary I feel like would be, sorry, my professors are right here, and they're for the forensic anthropology, I can see them staring. It's kind of like the bones, or you learn about when you go into a crime scene, you can you're identifying these bones and where they are, and you're mapping the scene. Or part of that, it would also be the osteology class that Dr. Weitzel here teaches, and that is identifying bones, sighting, all the features on it. Or later in the advanced forensic anthropology class, you have your own set of skeletal remains, and you are identifying what this is. You're identifying the age, the height, the sex, the race, and all that. And so that's kind of what you do in these classes. It's really interesting and really fun to learn about.
For the people going into law enforcement, are you guys expecting the dangers of being a patrol officer?
I feel like that's kind of something that you come to terms with before you get into it. I feel like if you're going to go into it and you're not to terms with that, that might be a little rougher. But I don't know. I think the passion for wanting to see your work do good and be able to see the results from it in the real world, talking and interacting with people, I think that outweighs the danger of it, in my opinion.
I actually currently work at DPSST, so I'm very familiar with the training the officers receive. Any entry-level officer receives here in Oregon. They emphasize officer safety a lot, so they really train you on how to be safe in any environment, in any situation. So I think that kind of comforts a lot of officers that come through. And also, there's always inherent dangers. There's inherent dangers when you go out and just walk down the street. So I think that just in that, knowing that in combination of me being passionate about law enforcement and community service, I think that kind of masks just the potential dangers of the job. So.
And there's certainly other factors. If you're truly worried about the patrol aspect, they have support staff and other aspects of those where if you really want to work within that area, such as Clackamas County, or you want to work with FBI, any of these things, you can certainly still work there, but not have to potentially risk your life if that's what you're truly worried about.
I also think it depends on your mindset. If you go in thinking you're going to be an action movie star, getting into trouble, fighting crime, being all badass, whatever you want to say, you are more likely going to get hurt. These people that you're encountering are people, not necessarily bad guys. Encountering them as individuals, as people, will certainly guarantee your safety a lot more than approaching them as if they're, criminals.
Is it difficult to find a balance between your schoolwork and your social life? Or in what ways? Or how can you differentiate between the two?
I'd say for the most part, I've made friends through my schooling. I'm the directorate for the Model United Nations Club, and so we go on trips to Portland. We go to San Francisco every year, and we play parts of a country. But then outside of that, we become friends through these clubs, and so really it's a blur of the two.
Yeah, I think going off Alex, you meet a lot of your friends sometimes can be in what you are doing, a criminal justice. Half of my friends are criminal justice majors, so hanging out with them, we can also do homework and still have a good time because we're all in that same area, so it kind of helps a little bit, but yeah.
Yeah, I would say that's definitely the most difficult part of college because you're definitely in the prime of your youth. It's hard to kind of refrain yourself sometimes or to go out or go have fun when you have a lot of classwork to do. That was definitely a big problem I had, or a big issue I had my first year. I didn't really have a hard time with classes, but I did have a hard time with trying to get a lot of my work done, and then kind of having that balance of okay, should I go out and hang out with my friends, or should I stay home and do homework? So that's definitely the most difficult part. But once you kind of get into really liking what you're doing, I think that and getting that good time management skills, I think that's not really as big as issue once you get to your second year.
So is it more based on research, or is it hands-on, or is it in between? Is there more research than hands-on, or yeah, I don't know.
That would, again, depend on the classes. Some are, you have rock climbing classes, but I think Kira can speak more to that with anthropology classes. You get to work with actual people who were donated to the sciences here and look at the bones, understand what they are. Whereas qualitative research methods is going to be more writing. You have the writing classes, or you have other classes that just are more hands-on. So
unfortunately, criminal justice has a lot of online classes, but I mean, if that's what you like, then it's perfect. The in-person ones are even my research methods class is in person, and last week we did a paper airplane project where we making a bunch of paper airplanes, and I feel like that's pretty hands-on. So the in-person classes that I've had are pretty hands-on, and you're fully working with the professor and stuff inside, especially the forensic anthropology classes.
When it comes to the social sciences, you will be confronted with a lot more theory, a lot more history of why we do things, why things are. Once you get into the graduate level, like Kyla had said earlier, you will be learning more how to apply those things, like creating prison programs. What did you do? What was your project?
There's a lot of different projects that we work on, but I think the one that Brandon's thinking of specifically, when you take advanced corrections, you actually get to walk through the process of how would you design the ideal correctional facility or things like that. And so there's a lot of projects where they are very much research-based because you're doing so much research, but they're also in a way very hands-on, very engaging, because you're having to really think about the practical application of these things and how do you come up with these things? How do you make it work?
I don't know if I can speak for everyone here, but at least for undergrad criminal justice classes, I would say it's about 50-50 research and hands-on. I think that's why I like the criminal justice program here so much, is because, criminal justice in general is a really hands-on, curricular based major. And I think that just reflects the field in general. It's really rare we'll find something where you have to do anything remote at least in criminal justice. So I think that's a really important aspect that they do emphasize here at the university. So yeah.
In this university, do you think having study groups in both your criminal justice class, writing classes, or anything like that in this university is very helpful?
Having study groups definitely is helpful. You can actually reserve rooms in the Hammersley Library just down the road here so that you can bring in a couple of people, have a quiet space to work, and nobody can distract you. But you will have to go out of your way to make those study groups yourself. You'll have to make friends. You'll have to find peers in your classes, even if you're just friends for a couple of weeks. But yes, study groups definitely do boost your chances of doing well in your coursework.
And criminal justice is pretty broad, all the topics that fit into it. So if you're in a class with other people and you're talking with them, what your answer could be completely different from their answer based on a question, because it covers so many things. So seeing other people's questions in these study groups is helpful a lot.
Great. So almost the time, but I'm going to ask you the final question. What's the best at WU? What's the best thing at WU? Anyone?
As I mentioned, I talked about how they send out emails and any opportunities that you can get to get in the career field and get actual hands-on experience. I'd say that's a big, great part about WU for me. And then also, like I said, was the small class sizes where you get really to develop relationships with your classmates and, more importantly, with your professor, where they are able to know you, know your strengths, know who you are. And that's something that I don't think is present at a lot of other universities.
Yeah, I'd say the facilities and resources here are really good. You also feel more of a student here and cared for compared to other universities because the class sizes are so small. You feel more taken care of compared to other universities. And yeah, so that's what I'd say, yeah.
To add on to that, there's always something to do on this campus. Every term, there's always the administration creating, like some nights we'll have casino nights where it's put on by a casino, we do that. There's just always something to do and you just gotta find it.
I've talked a lot, move on.
I think one of the highlights for me has been the community. Like the academic program here is phenomenal, but the people are also really great. The friends that you're going to make through your classes and through the academic community, the people you'll meet outside of that, the people you'll kind of do life with through this. But also getting to build those connections with your faculty and your advisors, that is a really cool community to get to build up around yourself. It's really valuable going into your career, but it's also really cool for your own personal development and to get to learn from these people who have so much experience and wisdom to bring to the field.
I think also our tuition covers a lot. We are able to do a lot of things here that we already pay for with our tuition, and we don't have to pay for it later. And I'm not 100% sure how correct I am on this, but I think we are one of the only schools that offer like free classes for things on campus. Like the gym here offers like rock climbing facilities or swim lessons, or well, those cost to members of the community. But these classes, you can take fitness classes, those are all free. You just have to sign up, where I think at other colleges like OSU and U of O, you do have to pay for that class individually. But here you just sign up for it. You're already paying for it. It's no extra costs, and they offer a lot of those things here, and I think I really like that about WU.
I think one thing that seems to be overshadowed a lot is the amount of resources for the students. We have something called Abby's House that allows connections for the Oregon Health Plan, getting that set up. We have a food pantry. We have something called the Stitch Closet for people that need clothes. We have all sorts of support. Just reach out to them. They will get you connected to the appropriate people. We do care about the students, and we would love to see you succeed. You just need to say something.
Well, for me, I've been at WU for 2 years because I was a transfer student. All my classes have been online. I've only taken one class in person, and that's this term. So I like the fact that I've been able to do it all online. It works with my schedule, being able to work full-time and go to school full-time. So.
Yeah, we offer both online and in person. Our students are so diverse, so we need to accommodate students' need. So that's why we offer both in person and online courses. Okay, thank you very much for all the panelists today.